Okay, this is lesson 122 for Friday. And this is about adverbs. And I really don't want you to become overwhelmed or think that this chapter is really difficult, because it really isn't. We just need to understand a couple basic things about adverbs, and then it should all make sense. So what we need to know are what questions adverbs answer, and what words do they answer these questions about. They answer the questions where, when, why, how often, or to what extent. And they answer those questions about verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Okay, in this example, she walked slowly. We have an adverb modifying a verb. Walked is the verb, and slowly tells how she walked. In this sentence, that is an exceptionally bright light. We have an adverb modifying an adjective, because bright is an adjective telling us what kind of light, and then exceptionally is modifying the adjective bright by telling us it is bright to what extent. And I also want you to recognize adjectives if they're in the predicate. Like this second sentence, he is exceptionally bright. Here the subject is he, is a linking verb, and bright is a predicate adjective because it's bright, he. And then exceptionally is an adverb modifying the adjective bright because it's telling, again, bright to what extent. And in this sentence, we have an adverb modifying another adverb. You did very well. Well tells how you did. And then very tells to what extent you did well. The confusion comes in when we have whole phrases used as adverbs. But I don't want you to be confused or put off by this. It's not that confusing if we just think about it step by step. First thing, remember what a phrase is. These are phrases. Into the night, at the beach. A phrase is a part of a sentence that's not a complete thought. It doesn't have its own subject and verb, because then it would be a clause. So into the night, you don't know who went or who went into the night. You don't know what's at the beach. These are phrases. Phrases can be used as adverbs. They can answer the adverb questions. There are two types of phrases in this lesson: prepositional phrases and verbal phrases. Remember, prepositional phrases, they just begin with a preposition and end with a noun, which is the object of the preposition. Like in the oven, by the lake, to the store. There are three types of verbals: gerunds, participles, and infinitives. So there could be a gerund phrase, a participial phrase, or an infinitive phrase. And in our lesson, we're working with infinitive phrases. And the infinitive form of a verb is to and then the verb. To be, to meet, and the phrase then includes all the other words that go with it, like to be late or to meet our friends. So what's the difference then between prepositional phrases that begin with to, like to the store, and infinitive phrases that begin with to, like to meet our friends? The infinitive phrase has a verb after it: to be, to meet. The preposition does not have a verb after it. It has a noun and then any modifiers before the noun. So exercise A on page 243, 5th edition, 181, 4th edition, sentence number 1 says, we went to the zoo to see a special reptile exhibit. And we have a couple phrases here that are being used as adverbs. And the directions to the lesson tell us that if it's a prepositional phrase, they want us to circle it. And if it's an infinitive phrase, put it in parentheses, and then draw arrows to the word it's answering a question about. So the prepositional phrase I see here is to the zoo. And then I see an infinitive phrase, to see a special reptile exhibit. Because to see, that's the infinitive form of the verb see. And then the rest of the words just go with the phrase. So what questions are these phrases answering, and about which words? To the zoo answers the question where about the verb went. Where we went? To the zoo. To see a special reptile exhibit does the same thing. Well, it modifies went, but it answers a different question. It tells why we went. Still an adverb question. Where we went? To the zoo. Why we went? To see a special reptile exhibit. Two different kinds of phrases, but they're each doing the job of the adverb because they're answering an adverb question about a verb. They could be answering it about an adjective or an adverb too, but in this case they're answering it about a verb.